Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This presentation is about Lost Islamic History by Firas al Khatib. This book is very amazing if you want to start learning about Islamic history from the beginning. So it is like the basic thing. It's not a very advanced one. So it's not that you will find here different narratives about a particular point in history, but this is about just the overview of a whole Islamic history. So it's really amazing in that sense, and it's a very short book, so you can just read this book in like 2 3 4 5 days. Just depends upon how much you read. So let's start. This book has 12 chapters. The latest edition has 12 chapters. The previous edition did not had the sixth chapter, which is the Islamic sciences, but some of its content was in the fifth chapter, the intellectual golden ages. But later on, he added this chapter and made some changes, and also added some new content there. But before we go into the history, let's focus on the map. Like we should be able to know what we are talking about on map, so that we actually have the real sense of geography. So this is the world map. I just wanted to show you the different continents there, and also the direction. So whenever you are seeing a map, it's usually it is it has four directions. So see the four directions there. The north is upward, south is downward. In the right we have east, and in the left we have west, and we have these seven continents. And in the next slide, let me just show you this one. We are going to be mainly focusing on Asia, Europe, and Africa. These three continents, and even from those we will be focusing mainly on Asia and some part of Africa and some part of Europe, and not the whole continents. So let's just go to the next one. This is a whole world map with countries even. So you can see it could be complex and it could be very confusing in the beginning, but let's just focus on four continents here. So Europe, Asia, Africa, and Australia. And even from these, just want three: Africa, Asia, and Europe, because main content of our history is going to be based on these three. Yeah, this is the Middle Eastern countries. So why I've highlighted these is because this is like the beginning of Islamic history: Saudi Arabia, Makkah, and then we move towards Iraq, Syria, Iran, Egypt, and these parts. And then from there, you can also look up other parts. So let's start the first chapter, which is Pre-Islamic Arabia. So Pre-Islamic Arabia, this is the like shortest chapter of this book, and it just sets the context in which we are going to be talking about. When we're talking about the pre-Islamic Arabia, we are mainly talking about the Arabian Peninsula, but even from there, we are mainly talking about the Makkah, Medina, and the Hijazi part. So Hijaz was dry and very hot. Like these two words, dry and hot, describe the whole Arabian Peninsula, I would say. It was ignored by the outsiders, or ignored by the main empires at that time. Let me show you. Yeah, this is the map of Arabian Peninsula. So we have in the south we have Yemen and Oman, and in the north we have Kuwait, Jordan, Iraq. This is the modern map, and you can also see Red Sea and Arabian Sea and Persian Gulf. Yeah, this part was ignored by the outsiders, and oases were the more reliable sources of the food, water, and other things. Community cooperation was very essential because they were living in very hot environment, very difficult environment. for the humans. So they had to cooperate with each other to survive. And so for that, families shared resources. So they shared things with each other. But that also, uh, what that also did is they brought wars, because when you have low resources and high competition, so there are going to be wars. Now, the families constituted a clan, which is called Kabila in Arabic, Kabila, clan. And several clans constituted a tribe. Uh, so there was a tribal system in pre-Islamic Arabia. So these are like the main tribes of that time. This map is showing. Now, one theory of etymology of the term Arab even poses that the word comes from a Semitic root meaning wandering or nomadic. So that is just one theory about it. So the Arabs, they would spend the whole of their summer in whatever oasis they could find and rely upon. And after that, when the autumn comes, and they migrate to the south, where rain would fall, and they would get fertile lands, and they could rely upon that. They could rely upon their sources, and by the time the rain stopped and the dry season began again, so they moved again to the oasis they moved from earlier, and that was like the whole year's routine. Art in that society. So if we talk about art, so they were actually surviving. They were with much difficulty. So the art is very difficult to work on in that environment. But that is the natural human desire. So that cannot be extinguished. What they did is they worked on the language as a form of art, and language itself is actually a form of art. It is basic human need, but it is also the form of art, like the poetry we have, and especially the Arabic. Arabic uh, is itself a form of artistic expression. Like you can see here written, word and sentence structure is fluid. Now, the pre-Islamic Arabian poetry is very famous, especially the muallaqat. Muallaqat, I mean the hanging ones. It meant so because they were hung upon the walls of Kaaba, or they were hung in the hearts of people. So both are the theories. Now, the written form of the language exists by the 500s, but it was really learned. Memorization was more of a thing of the Arabs. In the religion, if we talk about religion, they were polytheistic mainly. Mainly, they were polytheistic, so they believed in many gods. Uh, but the message of Ibrahim al Islam and Ismail Islam was not entirely lost. People believed in the God named as Allah uh, at that time, but they believed that he was one God among many gods, or he was the main God, but other gods were the let's say helpers uh, or something like that. So they did shirk, which is associating partners with God. Now, beside these polytheistic people, there were also isolated Christian and Jewish communities which existed in the Arabian Peninsula. The neighbors of or the empires around that region were the Romans and the Persian or Sassanid Empire. The Roman Empire was the main, and the Sassanid Empire. These two were the main empires, but they also had the Lakhmis and Ghasanids as their vassal empires. So you can see here in the map, Persian Empire is on the east, and Roman Empire is on the west. And Lakhmis are like the Arab Empire working as a vassal empire for the Persian Empire, and the Ghasanids working as a vassal empire for the Roman Empire. So they these two empires fought with each other to overcome the other one, or to conquer the other one, and the perpetual war between these two went on. Now, the borders between these two empires fluctuated, but it was generally in the Syrian desert, so where the modern border of Syria and Iraq is. That was mainly, or generally, that was the border. So these both empires, Roman and Persians, used Ghaznid and Lakhmids as their proxies or vassal empires, and there was also a kingdom of Aksum in Abyssinia, which is a modern Ethiopia. So you can see that in the map. And there was also actually empire in Yemen. It was actually advanced than the other Arab world or Arab area. This is a little bit detailed map of the previous one. The relation between these empires or and the Bedouins or the Arabs. For the Bedouin Arabs, the Romans in the northern part meant the presence of a wealthy and strong trading partner to the north. So they did not even like think about uh, leading a war on them. So they were just more interested in trading because they can't even uh, comprehend or think about that they could conquer them or they could even start a war with them. By the early 600s, the Romans and Persians were exhausted by the decades of warfare and were weakening behind. So the Ghazni and Lakhmis also too felt the stress of war as they were mere pawns in this constant conflict. Most of the Arab tribes, however, avoided this external conflict between the two imperial empires, and they were more interested in carrying a trade with the two warring empires than helping to decide who would be the winner in that war. Now, the Arabs enjoyed being at the crossroad of three or two powerful states, but the other were also the state, but two main states, two main powerful empires. They enjoyed that because they were aware of the international politics and had the skill to use rivalries to their advantage. Now, this harsh environment meant that none of the surrounding states could invade and occupy Arab lands. Geography, climate, culture, and politics together all led to the perfect environment in which Islam could rise to become a world power faster than any other movement, religion, or empire in the world history. This exponential growth in power and civilization would have been unfathomable to the Arabs of the early 600s who were struggling to survive. Yet all it took was the arrival of a man who came with a revolutionary message and promise to the Arabs of the new destiny, one beyond the sands of Arabia, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So in the next chapter, we are going to be talking about the life of the Prophet and just some key points. So it would be not a big chapter. It is again like other chapters. It is also a short chapter.